Hello and welcome to Tech with Heart. I am your host, Michelle Calloway. Tech with Heart is all about enlightening and empowering small business owners to be able to embrace technologies and systems and strategies that will help them stay competitive and relevant in a very rapidly changing business digital landscape. And so today's topic is about AI. And with me, we have a very special guest. His name is Peter Voss, and he is a pioneer in AI. He has coined the phrase artificial general intelligence. And he's the CEO and chief strategist of IGO. It's AIGO.ai. And for the past 15 years, he and his team have been perfecting an industry disruptive, highly intelligent, and hyper-personalized chatbot with a brain. So help me welcome to the Tech with Heart stage, Peter Voss.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and set the stage here. The first question I want to ask you is, how have you seen conversational AI improve the whole chatbot experience for potential customers and existing customers over these especially this last year when like ChatGPT became a thing? So yeah, share your insights on conversational AI and how it's disrupted.
Yes, unfortunately, it hasn't really improved a lot. ChatGPT, the technology behind ChatGPT, doesn't really lend itself very well to have ongoing conversations. And part of the problem is that it makes a lot of mistakes. It's, as they call it, hallucinating. It just makes up stuff. And that's inherent in the technology. So, if you're just doing an FAQ, you just want to, ask a question and it's not critical, I think it's a great aid for that, if you don't have a better system for customer service. But if you actually want to have an ongoing conversation and you maybe need to update your order or get anything done, it's really not the right technology. So we are largely really stuck with technology that's been around for 30 years and that most people hate. When you call into a company and, you talk to a computer and people just press zero, they keep telling me they press zero to get to a human. And, and chatbots to do anything complex in an automated way are typically not very good because they use very primitive technology. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. There is technology called cognitive AI technology as opposed to statistical or generative. I can expand on that. That does have deep understanding, that doesn't have these sort of confabulations and it doesn't make up stuff that you can really rely on. But that's technology that is not, generally available. There are very few companies working on it now. Ours is obviously one of them.
Well, I know that you're specialized in how you've learned through the whole learning all about chatbots, learning about AI, becoming an expert in this space. You've learned a lot about just intelligence, human intelligence, and the human brain. And I would like you to explain the difference between what you said, the cognitive versus the generative. I think that it's a valuable insights that people can have, because for those small business owners who are struggling to embrace technology, all they know is that everybody's talking about AI. But we want to try and help them decipher what is available, what's important, what's working, especially when it comes to, providing potential customer service, or at least providing a much more valuable customer experience, maybe at the onset when somebody comes and visits your website. So that's kind of like what they think about with chatbots is like being out there on their website, available to be helpful. But maybe, break it down. What is the difference between generative, which is what ChatGPT is supposed to be, and versus cognitive, which you said some technology companies are working on?
Yes, certainly. So we've obviously had this explosion of interest now with ChatGPT and, called generative AI. And the way generative AI works, it's trained on massive and massive amounts of information, literally trillions pieces of information. Unfortunately, good, bad, and ugly. They basically take all the information that's available on the internet and, Wikipedia and Twitter chats and Facebook and whatnot, whatever they can lay their hands on, and they use that to train these statistical models. And it really is amazing on what they've been able to achieve using this massive amount of information. And they literally cost $100 million to train these models. But they can have a very compelling kind of conversation, summarize things for you, give you ideas, and so on. The big problem is you cannot rely on them. You always need to have a human in the loop to say, does this actually make sense? For example, you can use it as a programming aid, and it might give you a piece of software that you can use, but it may not work. And then you have to debug it. So you have to be always very careful what to do with the information it gives you. So it's fantastic for idea generation and marketing, or you write some copy and then you put it through ChatGPT, and you can ask it to change the style and make it more formal or more casual or whatever you want, and it gives you ideas. And quite often you can just take it, read through it, and say, great, this is good stuff. So it's really great for those kinds of things. But if you're talking about actually providing customer service where there isn't a human in the loop, you can get into trouble very, very quickly. It's very expensive to actually get this implemented in any sort of reasonably robust way. And you may have heard of the example where a Chevrolet dealer used ChatGPT for a chatbot, and some user interacted with it and said, "Well, you sell me this new car for $1," and it said yes. And then the person said, "Are you sure this is legally binding?" And the chatbot said, "Yes, it's legally binding." That's the kind of trouble you can get into very, very quickly if there isn't a human in the loop to actually check it. So it's a great tool for idea generation and to help you summarize things and whatnot, but don't rely on it, and it's expensive to implement. So for a small business, it's really the tools that the individual, people in the company can use to I think, to really make them more effective. But customer facing, I would say, no, stay away from that. So that's generative AI, statistical generative AI, built on these massive amounts of information, good, bad, and ugly. Now, cognitive AI really starts from a very different premise. It starts from the idea of what is important in human intelligence. What do we value in human intelligence? What makes human intelligence so special? And it's deep understanding. We understand contextually. We can think about things. We know what we are talking about. We don't just automatically blabber off something that sounds good. Well, hopefully, we think we have metacognition. We can think about our thinking, and this is what allows us to have much more reliable conversations. That's what makes humans. So cognitive AI uses that approach where we build a system that is not built on massive amounts of information. So it's a quality of the information that it's trained on, not the quantity. So you're very careful about what you teach it. So for example, one of our great customers is the 1-800-Flowers group of companies, Harry and David and Popcorn Factory and a dozen other companies. And they use our technology. And we now have Valentine's Day just around the corner. They can save thousands of operators that we can actually replace by automation. And not only does the customer not have to wait to talk to a human, it will also be a much more efficient transaction. So on the one hand, the company is saving money, and on the other hand, the end user is getting better service. Now, it's not yet at human level, so there are certain kinds of transactions that you do want to give to a human, but of the things we've implemented, we actually handle just under 90% of the conversations, that we can automate. So, but that has to be implemented with training the system with all of the knowledge, about flowers or chocolates or gifts and things like that. But then you can have a hyper-personalized service where each individual user, the system knows about. It knows what they called before, what orders they have, who they buy gifts for, what kind of gifts. So it can give this really concierge type service to each individual user. And that's fantastic. Unfortunately, it does take a lot of effort to integrate these systems with the back-end systems to make sure you have all the business rules. Companies obviously have a whole lot of different rules, and when can you give a refund, change a product, and what's the availability in different areas for shipping and so on. And all of this has to be, taught and implemented for the system to work reliably. So as much as we'd love to offer this service to small businesses, it really only becomes cost effective if you have something like 50 people in your call center, 50 or more. But so we are working very hard to make the technology easier to implement. So as time goes by, the system will be able to, learn by itself all the business rules, or ask you, and ask the owner of kind of what the business rules are. So that's kind of what we're working on now, to have the technology much easier to implement and to configure itself.
Being able to do business online is crucial for survival, especially during times of social distancing. So how do you survive and thrive in the sea of digital noise? It's a lot like fishing. You need to know who your perfect customer is so that you can use the right kind of lure to attract them. We help you catch your perfect customer and retain them for future sales through highly converting websites, influencer mobile apps, getting you featured in the news and on TV. Hi, my name is Jerry Bowden, U.S. Army veteran and president of Revealio Software Solutions. Our goal is to help you rise above the competition, be seen as an expert authority in your industry, and embrace technology to stay competitive for long-term success. It's more affordable than you may think. So reach out to us at revealio.com, and together we will make your business come alive.
So the generative AI, being what ChatGPT is offering, is basically, like he was saying, a really good tool to use for ideas, especially when it comes to marketing your business. I think that there's a rule of thumb that when you ask the AI to act as if it's a marketing professional, and then to tell it what you would like it to do in as much detail as you can, as if as if an actual human being was sitting there next to you and you needed them to understand the premise and trying and explain to them exactly what you need. Because AI is only as good as the prompts that you can also provide it. So that's how you can use generative or ChatGPT model. Everybody just knows the ChatGPT word, and so I'm just going to spit that out, but it's not the only place where you can use this generative AI. So there's like Bing, there's a lot of other tools, there's Claude. It's not, ChatGPT isn't the only name in the game. That's like the Kleenex brand versus an actual facial tissue. So facial tissues, I mean, tons of people are creating facial tissues. So just think of it that way. When you do use AI content that is regurgitated from it and you like it, I also recommend that you modify about 20% of it to make sure that it is uniquely your own and not just a copy, slap, paste, fresh from the AI engine. That makes it your own, and there's just less risk that maybe somebody will get flagged, your content will get flagged as being AI generated. Now let's shift over into what Peter was saying about cognitive and his ability within his organization and his team to really, truly train the AI to be an excellent customer service representative and to be able to take orders and not have it be acting out and giving misinformation that could potentially hold your business liable. That imagine an employee that you bring in. It's going to take them quite some time to get truly up to speed on the ins and the outs, especially if you have a lot of SKUs that you're offering, and there's, like you're saying, there's different processes for refunds, and is refunds even possible? You have to train it, and that takes a lot of effort. And we're not there today with generative AI. Now, there are chatbots I know that you can go and purchase that will only train on your systems, but it's still not going to be perfect. We're not there today with perfection. So hope you're hearing us that, AI is something to definitely be paying attention to, but maybe as a small business owner, don't just rely on the free chatbots available today as your front-facing customer engagement type bots, without the ability for the user who's engaging with that bot to quickly click on a button that says talk to a human, and get you over to a human as quickly as possible. That way you don't end up with, it misleading anybody or causing frustration. So that's like my synopsis. I hope I did good there. Peter, what are your thoughts on what I shared? Is there anything else that you'd like to simplify or, talk to small business owners right now?
Yes, I think it's exactly right. So it's just very difficult to not be swept up by the hype. But one needs to understand there is a lot of hype and over-promising, and it's very easy for companies to say, "I will implement ChatGPT for your business, and it'll do magic." Just be very wary of that, and ask for examples in similar businesses to yourselves, and talk to the owners who've actually implemented it, and find out just what is real and what isn't real. And as I said, by and large, generative AI should not be customer facing, unless it's for FAQs, basically low risk kind of things. If the system says the wrong thing, but it shouldn't be for transactions of any kind. It's just not. You could just get into trouble, legal trouble, very, very quickly. And customer from a customer experience point of view, it can really hurt your brand. So that's where we are.
So thank you for that. I do think that as a small business owner, definitely be paying attention to the AI bots that are able to address some of those frequently asked questions, those types of things. Point people to maybe different pages on your website. If they're asking about events, tell the AI where to go, send them to your events page, that kind of stuff. So there are some ways that it's easier to get that help, so that you're not having to address just common everyday questions on the regular through your little chat portal, whether it be on social media chat portal or whether it be on your website. But I'm going to shift gears just a little bit and talk about the ability for AI to predict that buying pattern, like you mentioned earlier. How cool is that? That within this more advanced cognitive AI, you can identify the user's buying pattern. Can you speak to us a little bit and kind of give us a scenario of how that you see that working, and how that would so benefit a company when they're incorporating this cognitive AI model?
Yes. So, we've had for a long time, we've had AI, statistical AI, that can discern patterns, of what people buy. But that's typically by demographic. So you basically put into a group and say, this is the kind of movie you normally get, or you like these movies, or you like this music, therefore you're likely to also, like this particular artist or so on. So that's been around for quite a long time. But you really are then part of a dynamic of a group, and so that has been around. Even you don't need ChatGPT for that. That's just sort of more conventional AI, statistical technology. Now with cognitive AI, what we can do is we can personalize this at the individual level, at scale. So for 1-800-Flowers, for their 20 million customers, each customer isn't just a statistic, but an individual. And so what we can do is we can use the information from their backend system of what they've bought for whom, that whatever history might be there, and seamlessly include that. So, I mean, a human can't absorb that information, within seconds while you're having a conversation with your customer. And AI can. It can have all of that information sort of in its brain as it's having the conversation. What's more is it has its own memory as well. So things that may not be in your backend system, if you say, if in a previous conversation you said, I want to buy some chocolate for my niece, for her birthday, then our system will remember that. It has long-term memory. And, next time around, it will say, do you want to buy chocolate for your niece again, if that's a year later? Because it'll have that in memory, which may not even be in their backend system. The backend system may not know that it's the niece that you're buying it for, or that it's a birthday. So because it has short-term memory, long-term memory, it can hyper-personalize to the individual, and that's really fantastic. In fact, I just want to elaborate a little bit. The owners of 1-800-Flowers actually started the business. The current CEO and chairman started the business, and they had one flower shop, and they knew most of their customers, and they could give them that kind of personalized service. And they contacted us to say, how can we use technology that we can give similar kind of service, where basically your service agent almost knows, it's like they know you, know each customer of your 20 million customers. And that's the magic of the right kind of technology. If it has that kind of memory and reasoning ability, and you're an individual and not just a demographic.
I love that so much, because Tech with Heart is all about obviously enlightening and empowering about technology, but then it's like how we're using that technology in a way that it really enhances human connection. And what you just explained as far as how more of a cognitive AI model with a lot of training can really produce that quality of an experience for a new customer, especially somebody who frequents you. It's like, back in the day when that show Cheers was on and Norm would walk in, everybody would be like, hey, so it's like that kind of vibe, to be able to build your brand around that high level of personalization for the customer. Woo, that's powerful. This has been so enlightening, talking to somebody that's at your caliber of being an AI expert, and also knowing what you're building for enterprise solutions, and hopefully someday being able to democratize that down for the smaller businesses. It's exciting times. It's good to stay in the know as to what's happening in the AI world. So Peter, just for kicks, can you please just share with everybody where they can go to check out what you're doing, or maybe even how to reach out to you if they're interested in having a conversation?
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's very easy. Our website is aigo.ai, aigo.ai, and I'm Peter Voss. So you can get me, Peter, at aigo.ai, or you can find me on Twitter, LinkedIn. So it's very easy to find me. And I'd love to talk to anybody who wants to find out about better customer service or about AI.
Perfect. And so what is a thought or a phrase that you would like to leave impressed upon those who are listening or tuning in right now?
Well, I'll have to say that cognitive AI is the magic behind chatbot with a brain.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So if you're listening right now and you're fascinated by what AI could potentially do, but it's not there yet with the free versions of AI and whatnot, he's a really good, Peter's a great resource to reach out to, or just keep tuning in to the Tech with Heart show. You're welcome to join our community of innovative yet heart-centered business owners. We love to grow alongside one another. And so if you want to go check us out, go to techwithheartnetwork.com. And if you're a thought leader or a business expert in your area, an industry that you're seeing huge successes in the way that you're doing business online today, we would love to hear from you. We love sharing insights with our small business audience so that they can all experience success and not have to close their doors because they can't keep up with technology or systems or strategies. So if you'd like to speak or be a guest on the Tech with Heart show, go to techwithheartnetwork.com, check us out, fill out our speaker intake form. We would love to hear from you, and you're probably more than likely a very good fit for our show. So stay tuned, and thank you for joining us today, and here is to your success.
Your story needs to be seen and heard, and your brand needs to be revealed. Revealio elevates purpose-driven businesses into the spotlight through video storytelling, augmented reality video marketing, and professional website design. Get discovered online or in the news. Be featured in national magazines or host your own TV, podcast, or live radio show. Together, we make your brand come alive. All it takes is Revealio. Visit Revealio.com to get started today. Minority and service disabled veteran owned.